Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm going to start doing something, sort of kind of like what my friend what Mark does, along the lines of reviewing animes. But I'm going to review the anime shows because Mark sort of kind of reviews the mangas. I'm going to review some shows that I found better than whatnot, and I'm gonna give it a rating. I'm gonna review five shows. I'm gonna review Dragon Ball Z, the original, Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna review Naruto, the first three seasons of Naruto, the first two seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh, the first season of Fairy Tail, and I'm probably gonna review Berserk, like that whole thing leading up to Guts being in that little demon lair where all his friends were getting killed. That whole leading up to that point. I'm probably gonna do Berserk, but the anime I'm gonna review today is Fairy Tail. Now, Fairy Tail is a animated show that I never heard of before until my friend Mark and Seth had said a lot of good things about it. I mean, they didn't suggest it to me, but they said a lot of good things about it. And the more they said a lot of good things about it, I go, Fairy Tail. I wonder what that's about. Sounds interesting. And they kept talking about it. And I was like, I never heard about it. So finally, I settled down and was gonna watch the first full season of Fairy Tail. I only got to episode 29, and it isn't because I didn't have time. It's because I couldn't make it past episode 29. Now, this isn't to say the Fairy Tail is a bad anime by any means of the imagination, but I'm gonna get into it in a little bit. Now, I'm gonna start by talking about the positives of Fairy Tail, and I'm gonna talk about the negatives of Fairy Tail. On the positive side, Fairy Tail does have creative characters. It has the anime characters. It has, if you're into anime, it has the kind of characters that you would be into. It has a bit of every kind of anime character in it. And it's definitely an interesting concept with the Wizard Guilds and Fairy Tail and the Wizard Council and the whole thing. So it's definitely interesting. It has an interesting world. It's an interesting concept on paper. And I also, got characters like Natsu and Gray and Ursa. They are very interesting characters. There is no lack of interesting characters in this show. There's a lot of things. Even some of the powers that they use are very unique and cool to see, and the way they use them are cool to see. So Fairy Tail, Fairy Tail has many great qualities in it. There are qualities that make me. That's the only reason I even lasted this long is because I'm the things that I liked about it sort of overshadow the things that I didn't like about it, but they just did the things that I didn't like about it so often that it just completely just started to bug me to the point where I was just like, I can't continue to watch this, man. They just keep doing it. Now to get to the negatives of Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail, this is a problem with a lot of animes. They do this thing quite often. They ride the friendship conquers all thing to the ground. Every single time there is a conflict with one of the main characters, friendship will always prevail. Friendship will always prevail. Or they say something about the guild and they come back and win. Not to mention that I do not feel a sense of danger whatsoever. It always feels like something's going to happen or someone's going to pop up or something's going to happen and they're going to just save the day. I never felt a single inch of fear that anyone's going to die in Fairy Tail. And it's a problem. Every time it seems like something's going to happen. There's this one, it happens again. There's this one episode, Lucy. Well, there's a couple times where it happens where it seems like everything's so lost. Because Seth even said that which I'm surprised Seth would like this show because because in a Martian review he says he hates when they do all hope is lost and then hope is restored. All hope is lost and hope is restored. They do that verbatim in Fairy Tail. They do that every single freaking time they get a chance. To the point where I'm just after a while, and that's one of the things I said Fairy Tail was creative, kind of interesting with the characters and all, but the characters themselves aren't anything new. They're nothing we haven't seen before. Honestly, Natsu himself is pretty much a blend, in my opinion. My friend Seth thought Goku, but I honestly don't see Goku other than the eating. That's about it I see about Goku, because he's honestly just a smash up of Luffy from One Piece and Naruto from Naruto. He's basically just smacked them together, and that's when you get Natsu. And another thing, it always bothered me about this show is that no one trains. You don't see anyone training. You don't see anyone doing anything. Like, when people win, it's literally because they get angry or they sit there and think about their friends. And another thing, they keep on compromising the villains by trying to make a gag. And I have no problem with that because as I'm watching the show, I'm noting in my head, like, the gags that work are cool. Like, the gags that work are pretty funny. But sometimes they take it too far. Like, for instance, when Fairy Tail was having this big rivalry with another guild. I don't know all the names, but they're having a big rivalry with all the other guilds. And the Dark Guild is trying to capture Lucy, bring her back to her dad. And at one point, they capture Lucy, and like the headmaster of the Dark Guilds is sitting there talking to her, and she just kicks him in the nuts and jumps out. But then later in the episode, you see how powerful he is, and you're just like, let me get this straight. You guys already had her, and you lost her because you fell for a trick and turned around and got kicked in the nuts? I'm just like, come on, man. Like, really? Like, y'all just had to make a situation like that so dour, right? You just had to lighten it up, I guess, and you just had to find a way to do that, and they just keep doing that. Like, and there's a woman in the Element 4 who seemed kind of creepy at first. When I first heard on this drip, drop, and it was kind of creepy, and it was kind of cool, and I was like, okay, maybe she's going to be like this quiet badass or something, and I thought, honestly, I've seen enough anime that before I even saw, I knew she was going to end up turning, spoiler, she's going to end up turning to the good side, but I thought it was going to be like a slow burn, kind of like Gaara and Naruto, how he was all evil for a long time, and then he just kind of turned. I thought it was going to be like that, but it wasn't like that at all. Not only did they build her up to have this much power, they built all 4 of them up to have this kind of power, and they just get beaten up so quickly. It doesn't even, they do that quite often in Fairy Tail. They'll build these villains up, these enemies, the bad guys up to have so much power, and then they just they're beat so quickly. Like, Gary had this little rivalry with, his old colleague, kind of, sort of, because, they were trained by the same woman before she sacrificed herself to save them. And, he's beating the hell out of Gray for the first episode. I mean, with one hand. And the thing is, like, I probably wouldn't have had so much of a problem with Gray coming back and winning if it didn't feel kind of like, I'm like, well, this guy's been training his ass off. I mean, maybe, spell casting with one hand is incomplete, but this is a guy who's been training his ass off, and he makes that clear over and over again that he's been doing this, for a long time. And it's just like, really? You just come back and beat him in like 2 seconds? And like, he's beating the shit out of Gray. And Gray just gets mad and wins. And it's just like, okay. And that was the beginning, so I kind of overlooked it. I was kind of like, whatever. But they do this repeatedly. Like, when it's like literally no way out of a situation and they just get mad. Like, for instance, this one, like, a little earlier in the episode, Natsu was fighting this guy who could create like wind around his body so Natsu couldn't hit him, and he just got really mad and created a wind tunnel, and it took away his. I'm like, things like that bother me. Another thing, also when Fairy Tail was fighting that other Dark Guild, like Natsu was fighting against another Dragon Slayer, this guy who could eat metal and regenerate his kind of his power. And at first I thought they were gonna go with Lucy calls out this bow and arrow guy and asks him, can he shoot, because like Natsu replenishes his power by eating flames. And I thought, and for a second I was about to say, really? She's just gonna shoot a flame over there and then he's gonna get regenerated and win. And at first, but when he said he couldn't, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be interesting. Maybe Natsu's gotta fake his way through it. Maybe this is gonna be a unique situation. No. What happens right before he's about to lose? I literally sat back in my head and went, of course. Oh, man, they do this so often. The guy says, hold on, wait 1 minute. I misunderstood your question. I was like, oh, my God, really? I misunderstood your question. And then he shoots an arrow at like a tank or something, and it blows up, and Natsu gets the fire back, and then he wins. And I was just like, wow. Really? Really? So that bugged the hell out of me. And then later, in the last episode I watched, which just had something to do with Ursa and where she came from, like, Lucy is tied up, and she can't get untied because she can't use her keys. And like these guys are in the cards, and right as she's sitting here going, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. Ow! Oh, did I poke you? What? Yeah, I was trying to cut myself out, but I must have poked you by accident. I'm like, wow, they did it again. What's the like? Is this? No, it's not that they're doing it that bothers me. It's the execution of how they're doing it. They're doing it so blatant. They're not trying to be smooth about it. They're not like making it be organic. It's just blatant. Oh, look there. It'd be like walking down the road. It'd be like literally, you need $100 to pay your rent, and you just walk down the road, and there's $100 right there on the ground. Like, that's how blatant it is in Fairy Tail. Like, they do it so often that it just started to bug me after a while. It really did. And then it's so many things. Also, when they're I can go back to also when they're fighting the when Fairy Tail's fighting that other Dark Guild, they have a giant cannon that they're shooting at Fairy Tail, and Ursa blocks one of them and gets blown away. What do they do? Instead of locking up and shooting it again, instead of locking up and wiping them out, they go, we'll give you 15 minutes. And then they just jump in the cannon, destroy the cannon, beat everybody, and it's over. When I'm sitting here in my mind going, dude, if you would have just shot to get, what are you stopping for? Just keep shooting. You know they're not going to surrender. Just shoot and shoot and shoot. Like, literally, when he said, I'll give you 15 minutes, like, what the fuck you doing, dude? Just shoot. Just shoot. What are you doing? It really bugged me. Oh, there's too many things in this anime that bugged me, man. It really did. And Lucy is so irrelevant to me. Like, she is so pathetic. Like, not pathetic, but she's so irrelevant. She's like a comical relief or something. You know, they make her powerful for some reason. Like later, like they show like in this one episode where it turns out Loki is actually like not even a real human being. He's like one of the Celestials or whatever. Like one of those guys in the Keys. Turns out, like all of a sudden she goes from barely able to even tell one of her damn creatures what to do to summoning all of her creatures at one time. You know why? Because the spirit of friendship. I could go on for days, but I'm going to stop it right here. I give Fairy Tail a 4 out of 10. Honestly, it's not even close. To the other animes I named that I'm going to review, it's not even in the same ballpark, honestly, because the other animes did not bug me as much as this one did. This one bugged me to high waters. I couldn't finish it, dude. I just couldn't, because the problems in it just bugged me. Not to mention that every 5 seconds they keep showing boob shots, they keep showing naked. I'm like, dude, like, if you're not going to show anything, don't show anything, you know? Like, it's getting irritating. You know, they just keep doing this fan service stuff every 10 freaking seconds. And it's just like, ugh. Not to mention Happy is freaking irrelevant, too. Ugh. Yep, 4 out of 10. That's all I gotta say about it. I will be back with my review of... Next one I'm gonna do is probably Naruto Season 1 through 3. I mean, I can honestly do it now because I memorized the entire thing. But I'm gonna look at the season again. I'd probably do that in like a day or two. So I'll probably be back here like on Thursday and have it for you. So yeah, I'm gonna come back with Naruto Season 1, 2, 3 and give you my general thoughts on that season. Honestly, I like Naruto way better than I like this. Like the first 3 seasons of Naruto. After that, it's kind of weird. But the first 3 seasons of Naruto, I loved a lot more than I loved Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail bugged me. Now, thank you for joining me on this episode, and like and comment and whatnot.